Help support Chris and Zach Attack by liking and sharing all of our content, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all your latest video game news and updates. Hello friends, it's Chris.
It's Zach.
And welcome to another episode of Chris and Zach Attack E3 2017.
Here we are, attacking,
Booping and bopping.
slapping and kicking and punching and punching.
What?
What?
I can't hear you.
What? What?
You want a beer?
What?
1 beer. 2 beer. 3
What?
beer.
What?
4 beers.
What?
Shot of whiskey.
And a margarita.
Margarita. Good stuff. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
He should be our official Chris and Zach Attack mascot.
Man, if we were friends with him, that'd be great.
Hell yeah, it would be. He lives in LA right now. I think he has a house in LA. He's living there because I think he's got some, what's it called? Remodeling.
Shitty...
I think he's got some remodeling going on in his house in Texas.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Either that or he's got remodeling going on in his house in LA and he needs to be there to supervise it or get something.
Man, people with money. Okay, I don't get it.
So anyway, Stone Cold Steve Austin. What?
Yep. What?
So we're going to talk today about the Nintendo press conference that was held this morning.
Yep.
And I got a chance to watch the video package they had while I was at work, which was surprising. I thought somebody was going to walk in at any moment, but I got through it, man.
Slow day.
It was pretty a slow day. But some pretty exciting news. Lots of Switch exclusives here. Yeah. Actually, I think, well, aside from one, there's probably all of them are Switch exclusives.
Yep.
So yeah, not a lot of cross-platform.
Nintendo has Nintendo's like notorious for having the most exclusives. It's almost to their detriment at times, where Nintendo is so exclusive-centric that it scares away third parties. Because a lot of the times it's like their exclusives are so much better than the than the third-party stuff that third parties don't even develop for Nintendo consoles a lot of the time.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of upsetting because, like, you know, I would love to play me some Skyrim on the Switch.
Oh, but you can soon. I mean, but Bethesda doesn't give a shit. They'll release Skyrim on anything. I'm just waiting for
microwave.
I'm waiting for it on my phone.
On your phone, right there, yeah. Skyrim
with motion controls. But I mean, it's like, because you look at the third-party stuff, and it's like, say you're releasing a game on a Nintendo console at the same time as like a Pokemon game. It's like, how the hell are you going to compete with a Pokemon game? It's
That's true.
It's impossible. You are not going to compete. You're not going to compete with a Mario game. You're not going to compete with a Zelda game. You're just not going to compete with their exclusives.
Yep.
To almost the downfall sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's exciting because if you own the console, you're like, cool, look at all these games I can only play on my Switch. I love it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, when you do have a Switch, you got all these amazing games that you're going to play. I mean, they've already announced a lot of pretty cool-looking games.
Yeah.
From their vast library of IPs.
Yes, they have a lot of them.
They have a shit ton of them. One of them seems to be coming back from quite the big hiatus.
Yeah, that was a while.
Yeah.
That was a long time.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and run down the list here. So the first thing that was announced here was Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yep.
It's coming out holiday 2017 release. I never played the first one.
It was weird because I think for a while this was like a GameStop exclusive for the Wii. It kind of came out at like the end of the Wii's life cycle, but it was only a GameStop exclusive, so you could only buy it at GameStop. Mm-hmm. And then they re-released it for the new 3DS, so you can play it on the handheld now. It's a really good RPG, really good JRPG. Mm-hmm. it's a solid game. I know it has a lot of love. It had a huge cult following on the Wii.
Nice.
It's so much so that they re-released it on the 3DS.
Nice. So now it's getting a proper sequel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they had this is the sequel. They had like a spin-off on the Wii U, I think, and then now this one is like a proper sequel.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And yeah, it's very like you said, it's a JRPG. When I was watching the trailer, it had a very big Final Fantasy feel to it.
Yes, I think there's actually a couple guys who worked on Final Fantasy that are working on this game.
That wouldn't surprise me. It looked like it played like a traditional Final Fantasy game. Well, I should say traditional, more like 10 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
As far as like the combat system goes, it was very turn-based JRPG, turn-based.
Yeah. So I mean, this is exciting because it's like it shows that JRPGs. This is kind of like, we can put JRPGs on the Switch, and that is a market that the Switch can support, which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Holiday 2017 release. Kirby is the next one. It's a Kirby game. I think it's just called Kirby.
I think so.
But I could be wrong. It could just be a placeholder name.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a ways away, so they might update it.
Yeah.
Saying like, it's like Kirby and the something or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 2018 release. It's a classic side-scrolling platformer with 4-player co-op, and it looks great.
Nice.
Just bottom line, just looks really good. There's updated like cartoony graphics. You saw there's a image or not an image, but he came up against that blowing tree that was in the Super Smash Brothers map.
Yeah.
He came up across that thing, and he was fighting that, and it was very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, there were 4 other Kirbys following him around, so that's 4-player co-op.
Nice.
Could be more, not sure. But it only looked like there was 4 slots on the screen.
Okay.
But, it looks like a fun platformer. Definitely something to look forward to next year.
Yeah.
After that, Nintendo representative from Nintendo came on and said Nintendo promises more multiplayer games for the Switch. I just kind of took note of that. I didn't. There wasn't really anything that stood out. Maybe, a couple things stood out that could be multiplayer, but one of them still kind of a ways out. Anyway, but next, someone from Pokemon, the Pokemon Company, or not is it the Pokemon Company?
Yeah.
Or is it Game Freak?
It's both, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this guy comes back on. I'm sorry I didn't get his name. I'm kind of a bad person at that. But he said something about the new Pokken tournament that was announced before the conference.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure what that game is. Do you know what that?
I think it's a port of a Wii U Pokemon fighting game. I think it's developed by like Bandai Namco, so I think it's kind of like their style of fighting game.
Okay.
I think it's an arcade game too in Japan, but I mean it's a decent fighter. I mean it's just a port from a Wii U game, so. Gotcha.
Anyway, along with that, so he was talking about that coming over to the Switch, and then along with that, he also teased at a brand new Pokemon RPG Switch exclusive coming out maybe a couple years from now. There's probably going to be like some sort of trailer sometime next year, or maybe even later this year, right? Probably during the holiday season.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting because, I mean, that's the big question that everyone's asking about. Is like, is the Switch going to get a Pokemon mainline release? Because there's never been a Pokemon game for a console ever. It's never happened. It has never been released. They have just been exclusively the handheld Nintendo game, Nintendo systems.
And by Pokemon game, we mean like a traditional like RPG type of Pokemon game, not like Pokemon Snap or Pokemon Stadium or anything like that.
Yeah, because I mean, there's been spin-offs, but it's like everyone has been asking for just like a straight-up Pokemon RPG. Take like the handheld version and just update it in 3D, expand it, and make it for the consoles. They have never done it until now. Yeah. So I think that kind of, they're almost saying like, well, the Switch is more than just a console. It's kind of like the handheld console hybrid type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good. On top of that, there was actually you remember they announced that Sun and Moon.
The Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Yeah, they announced that for the 3DS, and then they had the Switch on it, but then they took it down.
Yeah.
They didn't touch on that at all. So.
So that was probably just an error on whoever listed it. So yeah, that's just going to be the 3DS. I mean, I could see this Pokemon game. I mean, if they're working on it for like a year, I could see it coming out like late next year. Yeah. Because Pokemon has been a yearly release up till like 2 years ago. So maybe they say Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon come out this year. Next year, like fall or winter next year, Pokemon Switch comes out.
Yeah. So that's good. Anyway, so next up, Metroid Prime 4 announcement trailer. It is in production, or in development, I should say. Yep. And then on top of that, so there was really nothing else. It was just the words Metroid Prime 4 in development. So it's probably going to be another year before we see any footage, and maybe another year after that before it actually comes out. Yeah. Tough to say at this point. Hopefully, 2 years down the line. So 2 games to really look forward to in the next 2 years.
Yeah. Hey.
Side note with that. So there's a little Nintendo Treehouse live stream where they kind of interview people, ask them what they think about games, stuff like that. They actually announced another Metroid game that's going to be coming out called Metroid Samus Returns. That's coming out September 15th, 2017 as a release for the 3DS. And what this is a remake and reimagining of Metroid 2's Return of Samus.
Yeah, so this is exciting because, I mean, years the fans of Metroid have been asking for a new Metroid game, and it's like Nintendo's just been ignoring them for years and years and years and years. And it's like Nintendo's finally like, oh, maybe we should listen to like what the consumers want. Like maybe they want a new Metroid Prime game. Maybe they want Metroid on the 3DS. You never know. Maybe we should do that. Yeah. And it's like they're finally doing it after so many years. So that's exciting because I know the Metroid Prime series is one of the beloved of the Metroid games. I know that came out for the GameCube, the Metroid Prime. Yeah. And I mean that was a great game. I mean everyone who played that game loved that game. Critically acclaimed Metroid game. And it kind of just they didn't really do anything with the Metroid after that. Like they had Metroid Prime, I think it was 1, 2, and 3, and then after that it kind of just died out, and then they didn't really do anything with Metroid after that.
Yeah, sadly I never got to play those 2 games. I had a GameCube for the longest time.
Yeah,
and I never picked those up.
I played the first one. I really liked it, but I think I was a little bit too young to really, because it was a first-person shooter before I really was like into first-person shooters, so I didn't really know what I was doing. Yeah. But I played like the side-scroller ones, and I liked those a lot. So I mean, Metroid Samus Returns excites me too because I really like the side-scrolling ones a lot.
Yeah, and this is definitely a side-scrolling game. It's going to have some cutscenes along with it too. Mm-hmm. If you remember Metroid 2, I believe it was on the SNES.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't even.
Sure, you should have looked that up.
Yeah.
It's probably not important. It might be important to some people, but we're just gonna move on with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it came out way back when, and it was just a 2D side scroller. Nothing too advanced, but it was considered a really, really awesome game. Like, it's Metroid. People really love Metroid.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like I said, it's a remake and a reimagining. So, number one
It's for the Game Boy. What?
Oh, it's for the Game Boy. Okay.
What?
That's fun. Well, I mean, it's back to its roots.
Yeah. Hey, bring it back.
It's a remake and a reimagining. So there's going to be cutscenes, graphics update, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I'll probably pick this up probably day one for me, September 15th. Because I mean, like the 3DS was like a prime system for a Metroid game, and it's like they just never did it. And now we're towards the end of the 3DS's life cycle, and it's like, oh, here you go, here's one. Like, oh,
I might pick up a 2DS just to get it. 2DS XL.
Ooh, that's a great system.
Yeah,
I'm kind of considering upgrading because it's like it looks so cool.
Definitely, yeah. I'm probably I might pick up a 2DS XL just for Metroid and possibly Pokemon as well, as I haven't had a handheld for so long. But
well, the Pokemon Sun and Moons are a good place to jump into Pokemon. Like if you haven't played in a while, because they pretty much updated everything, and I like it a lot. I like what they did with it.
Good. So after that after the Metroid Prime 4 announcement was a Yoshi trailer. So this is a very interesting looking game. It's just called Yoshi right now. Might be a placeholder like Kirby was or Kirby is. Who knows? But it's slated for 2018. It has a real Paper Mario feel to it. Not in the style, like not in like RPG sense, but like in the looks.
The look.
Yeah, it looks like Paper Mario.
Yeah, because I know they had like the Yoshi's like Woolly World. I know that was like their new thing. It was kind of like it looked like yarn.
Yeah.
Like that was the Kirby's like Epic Yarn, and then they had Yoshi's Woolly World. So that was kind of like what they were doing on the Wii U. So this one, it's kind of like back to just like not as stylized, but still stylized.
Yeah. The backdrops are kind of like. It kind of looks like it takes place in like someone's bedroom where where the obstacles are like, you know, just random objects around the room. But it's like it's very interesting looking, very interesting looking style of game. Okay. It's just a side scroller again, platformer. But it emphasizes on the fact that you can view the stage. So you know how you can only view one side of a side-scrolling stage? You can actually view the other side of the stage. You can kind of flip it around. So it's a completely different look. So it's like, you know, say there's like a cloud, like a cardboard cutout of a cloud. You flip it over, it's just a cardboard cutout. Like it's not painted or anything. It's just the back of the cardboard. So interesting looking thing. Yeah. Trailer looked pretty good. That's another exclusive to be excited for if you have a Switch.
Yay!
Next year.
Yeah, next year.
Next up was Fire Emblem Warriors. Now I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah.
This is a fall 2017 release. It's a Dynasty Warriors type of game. So the trailer made it look fantastic. Was Hyrule Warriors a hit?
Yeah, that was a good hit. That was for the Wii U. That was a solid one. They re-released it on the 3DS. It was like big enough to get a re-release on the 3DS.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, I'm guessing they must have saw the success of Hyrule Warriors and say, well, what other IP do we have that we can do that? Oh, Fire Emblem. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. Boom. There you go. Done.
Yeah, they're saying like the Hyrule Warriors is kind of like a step up from like because it's like the Dynasty Warriors type of game, but like what they did in Hyrule Warriors was like a step up in like terms of like the depth of gameplay, like the customization, the weapons, and all that stuff. So I'm hoping Fire Emblem is another step up. So it's like a really in-depth RPG beat 'em up action style game.
Definitely, and it definitely looks like it has a really good story to it too. Marth comes around, Prince Marth, I should say. He comes around and helps everybody out. And I'm guessing he's probably going to be a playable character because he's like the main character.
Yeah, I mean that's like what else these are known for is just like a ton of playable characters. Mm-hmm. Like I know Hyrule Warriors had just so many playable characters. That was one of the big draws to it.
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely something to look forward to. Like you said, fall 2017 release. Yep. So fall's looking pretty good for Zelda, or I'm sorry, not Zelda, but Switch owners.
Yeah, it's looking pretty solid. Yeah, we don't have ours. Okay.
All right, so next up, they went into some Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC. Yep. There's going to be 2 DLC packs, so I believe they promised there'd be 2 DLC packs coming out this year, so I think they're going to be holding up to that promise.
Yeah. Because there was like an expansion pack you could buy. Yeah. It was like part of the collector's edition.
Yeah. And so the first one was is called The Master of Trials. It's slated for June 30th, so it's coming out pretty soon.
Yep.
It's going to contain the Hero's Path mode, new armor, the Korok mask, like other masks and stuff. Like I saw him wearing the Majora's mask.
Oh, nice.
Master mode, and a lot more. I didn't get too much into detail on what all these were. I don't know if they did either. I'm sure they did during the thing. But yeah, there's a lot coming with this DLC pack, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
If I would be if I had a Switch in this game. And the second DLC pack is called Champion's Ballad. It's slated for Holiday 2017. It focuses on Hyrule's other champions, Urbosa, Mifa. I'm probably pronouncing these wrong. Daruk and Rivali. The champions will also have amiibo figures to go with them. So yeah. Zelda.
I mean, this is great. It's kind of unique seeing Nintendo do DLC because Nintendo has been notorious for not doing DLC in their games. So they're taking one of their biggest games in Legend of Zelda, saying like we do want to keep supporting it past the initial release with DLC to kind of extend the game's life, which is a nice thing to see Nintendo do. They're kind of jumping on the trend of DLC now, which I mean is fine because if it's quality DLC, I'm okay with it. If it's like shitty DLC, then I won't buy it. But I mean, quality DLC, I'm fine with, and hopefully this is quality DLC for one of the best games in a while. So.
Yeah. I mean, the first one looks to be a little iffy just because it just seems like it's a bunch of like aesthetics. I mean, there's two modes coming in, the Hero's Path mode and the Master mode, but the Master mode I think is just a higher difficulty of the game.
Yeah.
Hero's Path mode, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but yeah, I mean that seems to be on the side, but the next one after that seems to be more story depth.
Yeah, hopefully there's some story stuff to it.
Yeah, but June 30th and Holiday 2017, respectively, for those two packs.
Yeah.
Next up, they announced Rocket League is coming to the Switch, Holiday 2017. So Rocket League, if you guys don't know, it's that, I'm sure you guys have seen videos for it. It's a popular game where you use cars to punch a huge ball around an arena using rockets and boosters and all that stuff.
Yep.
And you kind of like soccer, you get them into the goal, score points. There's a lot of trick videos around with this game.
Yeah, there's like a pretty big pro scene for it too. I mean, there's like tournaments and all that stuff, and it's a really popular indie hit. I mean, Rocket League is one of the most popular indie games ever created.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's really good. But the biggest news that came out for this is there will be cross-platform support for Xbox and Steam, not Sony.
Yeah, they approached Sony and Sony said no, they don't want to do it. So it's kind of weird seeing like Xbox and Nintendo, they're kind of like buddies, and like they're buddies in this and they're buddies in Minecraft. So it's like kind of weird seeing them almost team up. It's like they're teaming up to fight like Sony.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, it is kind of funny to see that. But that's gonna be pretty exciting for that game to come out. Last but not least, they released a new Mario World Odyssey trailer with a release date, October 27th, 2017.
Yeah, soon.
It's very soon. Just a few months down the line. So this game focuses on Mario's hat and the ability to take control of other monsters in the game. In the trailer, Mario took control of a car, a dinosaur, a Goomba, a Koopa Trooper, and I saw him take control of like one of those bullet bullies. Is that what they're called?
Bullet bills.
Bullet bills. Okay.
Yep.
He took control of a bullet bill. He took control of the that dog thing on the chain.
Oh, the Chomp, I think it is.
Is Chomp?
I think it is Chomp.
Okay.
It's been a while since
He took control of one of those.
Yeah.
And a loose one bit him, and it knocked him out of it, if I remember correctly. But in my opinion, this is kind of like a big throwback to Mario 64. Like as far as like the style goes, like just kind of like I don't. There's different worlds that you can go to. I don't know. It's not like Super Mario Galaxy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is exciting. I mean, I think one of the biggest questions going in was like, was Mario World, Super Mario, was it Mario, Super Mario Odyssey?
Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey, was it going to get a 2017 release date? Was it going to hit this year? Or was it going to go into next year? That was kind of the biggest question. And they're saying, yeah, it's going to be out this year. So, I mean, that's two huge releases. I mean, a new Zelda game and a new Mario game for a brand new console. I mean, that's a hell of a way to start off a console's life cycle. I mean, years from now, we're going to be looking back at the Switch and saying, like, man, the first year this thing came out, they had a Zelda game and a Mario game. Like, holy crap.
Yep. And Dynasty Warrior, or not Fire Emblem Warriors, they had Splatoon 2. They had some, by the way, they announced some tournaments. I didn't really write them down, though. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Within the next year, they had Kirby and Yoshi.
Yeah.
After that, Pokemon, Metroid Prime.
Yeah, I mean, so if, like, I like the trend of Nintendo just saying, like, here's our franchises, here are the IPs we have, here's a bunch of new titles for the Switch. Here's a Kirby game, here's a Yoshi game, here's a Mario game, here's a Zelda game. I mean, and I hope they just keep doing it. Here's a Donkey Kong game. Like, just keep going down the list of all the things that they can do. Like, here's a new Wario game. Like, why not? I mean, do it. See what sticks. And like, if people really like the Yoshi game, if people really like the Kirby game, make a sequel to it or do something else. I mean, and then they have their like Splatoon and then ARMS and stuff. Like, those are their new franchises that they're still taking risks on. I mean, they have so much depth that they can use. They should just do it. Throw everything on the Switch and see what happens.
Absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised too if in the next year or so we see another Smash Brothers type game going on. That'd be great. And then they also they did talk a little bit more about it, but there wasn't really any new news. But there was also that Mario plus Rabbids game.
Oh, yep.
So they talked about that a little bit, but like I said, there wasn't really much new that we already knew, that we already talked about from the Ubisoft video.
Yeah, and that comes out soon too. Yeah. So I mean, they don't want to give too much away because it comes out pretty soon. So if they talk about it too much, then it's like, well, the game's coming out in like a couple months. You don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's looking like a good time for Nintendo as far as their IPs go.
Yeah.
Just a third-party support. It's like, where is it at?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about Nintendo consoles. It's like the third-party support is always lacking. I mean, of all the big releases that we saw for that are like multi-platform, all of them say PS4, Xbox One, and PC. None of them say Switch.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to get Destiny 2 on Switch.
Mm-mm.
You're not going to get Anthem on the Switch. It's like, so these like big AAA titles are kind of missing the Switch, which is, I mean, it's kind of worrisome, but then again, you look at what they're releasing for the Switch, you look at what Nintendo's releasing for the Switch, you're like, well, I guess it's fine because, I mean, I get all these great Nintendo games on my Switch, so I guess I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So
you're right about that. But, like, say what you will about Skyrim, but there are people that are still interested in that game.
Somehow.
Yeah, somehow. And when it comes to Switch, I'm wondering how many people will actually pick it up. Because the ability to play that thing wherever you go.
Like, I mean, that's big.
Big.
Well, and if you were a Nintendo console owner for, say you got the Wii U, and then you got the Switch, you're finally able to play Skyrim after so many years. This is the first time you're able to play Skyrim. It's never come out for the, it didn't come out for the Wii U, it didn't come out for the Wii, so it's like the Switch is the first time you get to play it, which is kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy, yeah. I mean, at that same time, if you didn't own the other two, the Xbox or the PS3 or PS4,
yeah,
it's like, this is the first time you're able to play it, so it is exciting.
Yeah, it's a new experience for.
I don't know who is out there that doesn't own a console like that, but
I mean, I could see, like, okay, say you were like 10, you got a Wii when you were 10, and then like through the years. So when did the Wii come out? 10 years ago. So like, okay, well, maybe not that long. So you're a little kid playing the Wii, you grew up, got a Wii U, and now you're a little bit older, and it's, okay, say you're like 15, and then you have a Switch. It's like, well, like a 15-year-old might not have played Skyrim yet. So it's like, this might be exciting to like a 14, 15-year-old who's going to play Skyrim for the first time.
That makes more sense because it did come out 5 years ago. So
yeah, so like, yeah, like when they were like 10, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so when they were 10, they probably weren't allowed to play Skyrim, or they were just too young for it. So now they get to play it on their Switch that their parents bought them. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it works. It works out for them. Works out for that generation of kids. But yeah, it's, other than that, what do we think of Nintendo here? Like,
I mean, it just pretty much looks like classic Nintendo. Like, it's just solid games, some kind of hints at things to come. There wasn't really any surprises except for Metroid Prime. I think that's the biggest surprise, is because the other thing that Nintendo has kind of been lacking is like hardcore games. Because not like hardcore as in like really difficult, but like hardcore as in like they always like say hardcore as in like first person shooters. Pretty much first person shooters are action games. Those are like the hardcore gamers play those, like Call of Duty style games, first person shooters, action games. Nintendo has kind of been notorious lacking in those style games, because you look at a lot of their times, it's like side scrollers or like adventure games or platformers. They haven't really never had like a first person shooter on their console. They tried to do hardcore games on the Wii with like, I think it was called like Mad World, and it just really didn't work. So they stopped doing it. Yeah. So if they can kind of turn Metroid Prime into like a adult or hardcore franchise, I feel like that could be a pretty big hit for the Switch.
You know, I think you're absolutely right, and I think they have all the capabilities of doing it. Metroid is it's a sci-fi setting with aliens and gross-looking fucking monster things. You could easily turn it into like a Halo-esque type of thing.
Yeah,
definitely could do it. You know, make it targeted toward more of a mature audience, because I think honestly a more mature audience would play that game versus a kid audience.
And I think the stats, they say like there was like some study that came out, they said the average age of a Switch owner is like 23 or something. So I mean, it's like the average age for a Switch owner is like, it skews a little bit older. So I mean, they could handle like an M-rated action first-person shooter like Metroid Prime. They could handle it. It could do well, and it wouldn't just like completely fail on the system.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think Nintendo did pretty well.
Yeah.
Not really as close as what I would think Sony would be.
No.
But you know, for Nintendo being Nintendo, good stuff. Yeah. I like where this is going. I like where the Switch is going.
Yes, I agree.
It's gonna be a good couple of years, I'll tell you that. Yeah,
I mean, the thing that I was worried about is just endless Wii U ports, and thankfully they didn't really have any Wii U ports talk about on this. So that I was like, oh, thank God, it's not just like, here's a Wii U version of all these other games. I mean, here's a Switch version of all these Wii U games. It's like, no, don't do that. And they didn't do that.
They didn't so that, yeah, is good. Yes. Yeah, so that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Not 100% sure if we're going to win tomorrow, but we'll
maybe just a wrap. Like, there might be a surprise announcement. You know, sometimes they do that.
Exactly.
So yeah, well, that's going to do it. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell you at the video. And we'll be back soon. And see you next time. Bye.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow us on the Twitter, ChrisAndZachAttack. Follow us on Instagram, ChrisAndZachAttack. And follow us on Twitch, SgtMajorCool,
ZachAttack 4131,
and ChrisAndZachAttack, the join community channel.
That's us.
And thanks for watching. Everything you do will help us rise to the top.